Hi, Nicki Serquinia here from Hats, Scarves More, and I would like to tell you everything that I know about how to deal with the hair loss part of chemotherapy. And so one of the big questions you may be wondering is to shave or not shave your head. And I have a lot to say about that, and I'll get to that in a minute. But I just would like to preface this by saying that in 1988, I was diagnosed with stage 3 ovarian cancer. And the first thing I asked my oncologist is my hair going to fall out? So here I had this very serious cancer, but that was my number one concern, and so I was a hairdresser at the time, and I didn't have any more access to wigs or hats or scarves or information than anyone else did. And of course, it was 1988, so there was no internet, and there just wasn't a lot of information available. So I had to learn as I go. And in the last 25 years of my hairdressing practice, I specialized in seeing women who were starting chemotherapy and alopecia patients. But what I'm going to speak to today is chemotherapy and what happens and what you can expect when you're starting to lose your hair due to chemotherapy. And I learned so much from my clients in that 25-year period. I saw probably 2 or 3 chemo patients a week. So in 25 years, probably, a couple of thousand of women. And for some women, the hair loss part is just another bump in the road and, one more thing for them to have to deal with. And for other women, it is the most devastating part of the diagnosis and treatment. And in that period of time, I saw women in all stages of acceptance and just extreme devastation. And so I learned a lot from my clients. I learned a lot about how to deal with just the physical part of this, and that's one of the things I would like to convey to you. So first of all, so let's just start with what happens, what can you expect when you start chemotherapy. And so if your doctor or nurse has told you that you're going to lose your hair, then you probably can pretty much believe that. Not all chemotherapy drugs cause your hair to fall out, but the ones that do are fairly predictable. So in that case, this is what is basically going to happen, is about 2 weeks to the day from your first treatment, your hair will start to fall out. You'll lose like a few hairs. But in about a week and a half before that 2-week mark, about a week and a half after your first treatment, your scalp might start to get tender or sore. Now, personally, I do not remember that, but it can be anywhere. What was described to me is anywhere from kind of tingling to itching to just sore. Like, if you were a kid and you had long hair and you wore your hair in braids for a couple of days and then you took it out and, it was kind of sore, it's kind of like that. And again, everyone is different. So for some people, it'll be very mild, and for some women, it is very painful. So you might be anywhere in that spectrum. But that is your sign that your hair is going to start to fall out. And the other thing to know is that after the hair loss is complete, you won't have that soreness. So don't think that for the whole 6 months or 9 months that you're going to need a head cover, that your hair is going to, that your head's going to be sore. So, and also just briefly on why does chemotherapy make your hair fall out? Well, cancer cells grow and divide faster than our regular body cells. So chemotherapy, the traditional chemotherapy drugs, are designed to target the fastest growing cells of the body. Well, the fastest growing cells, so they target the chemotherapy, but the fastest growing cells in our body is our hair and our bone marrow. So the hair just gets caught in the crossfire. And then the bone marrow, of course, is where we make blood cells. So that's why your blood counts drop. So that's why the hair falls out when you have chemotherapies. It just gets caught in the crossfire of the medicine that's going in to try to wipe out the cancer. So 2 weeks to the day after your first treatment, when you go like this, and you'll be really wondering, there'll be a few hairs in your hand. And then the next day, there'll be a few more. That'll kind of double. And then the next day, that kind of doubles again. So in that probably 4 to 7 day range after the 2-week mark, you will probably have lost, like by the 7 days after that 2-week mark, you'll probably have lost at least 50% of your hair, because it just keeps accelerating every day. So at that point, you would probably be ready to just get rid of your hair and start wearing a hat or wig or scarf or whatever it is that you've decided that you want to do for head coverings. So I have some really good information. I feel very adamant about this next part of what do you do at that point. I'm going to go back a little bit more and also say that, you'll hear all kinds of things like, oh, you should cut your hair really short before you start chemo. Some women shave their head before they even start chemo because it helps them feel more in control. Other people, like me, wait until the very last day, that you can possibly go with your head uncovered before you decide to do what you're going to do about it. So I just want you to know that not to be pressured by anyone. You don't have to tough up and shave your head because that's the strong thing to do. Well, you probably don't feel real strong right at the moment. So you want to be really gentle with yourself, and it is a totally personal decision about whether or not you shave your head or how you're going to go about that. And I had a lot of clients, when I would say, they'd say, oh, I suppose I should get it cut, now, and I would tell them, you don't have to do anything now. You can wait, and you can wait till the very last to cut your hair. And they often had this big sigh of relief because they felt like they just had to be tough and tackle that and, cut their hair before they start chemo. And you can do it however you want. So, but when that hair starts to fall out, one sort of fact about that is 100 hairs that are this long are going to be a lot less to deal with than 100 hairs that are this long. So one of the things if you have like really long hair, anything from shoulder on down, you may want to get it cut shorter before you start chemo or before it starts to fall out, but you don't have to. You can do this your way. So, okay, so let's just say that your hair is like a medium length, and and it's starting to fall out, and it's been falling out for about a week, and you're just done with it. It's on your pillow and all over, and your head's kind of sore, and you're ready to start wearing the hats and scarves or wig that you got. So this is the best tip I ever discovered. So the other thing too is, okay, I for sure do not want you to shave your head all the way down to the scalp. You do not want to put that clipper blade right on your scalp. And the reason is that, so you've seen the cross sections of hair. You've got your papilla and you've got the hair wrapped around here. This is the hair follicle. Well, the hair, when you get the chemotherapy, you stop growing new hair, but your hair is still in the follicle there. And so when it detaches from the papilla, you don't want it to get stuck in the follicle. So I hope that wasn't like confusing. So let's just say, if you shave your hair all the way down to the scalp, those little hairs that are inside the follicle can get stuck in there, and then it can cause like an ingrown hair, or it's almost like a splinter inside that hair follicle. And we've all had an ingrown hair, right? And they're sore and they're little bumpies, and and that can happen if you shave it all the way down to your scalp. If you do what I'm going to recommend to you, though, you will absolutely not have that problem. So this is so you're ready to just go ahead and get rid of the hair. So this is the best thing I can tell you to do. So shampoo your hair, and either with the shampoo in, or rinse out your hair and then put conditioner on it. So with either the shampoo or the conditioner, take a regular comb, not a wide tooth comb. Doesn't have to be super fine. Just take a regular comb and just start combing through your hair with that shampoo or conditioner right on your head. What that does is that gives the hair a little bit more to grab onto. I don't know exactly how to explain that, but it just gives it a little bit more traction. Now know that even if your scalp is sore, when you're combing this and pulling the hair out, it won't hurt. It won't hurt. It's like dandelion fluff. You're going to be taking out the hairs that have already detached from the papilla, and are just kind of sitting there. So you just want to comb, and you just, especially with that traction with the shampoo or the conditioner, you're going to get out so much hair. So when you get out all the hair that you can, then rinse out and you'll probably take another 50% or 60 or 70%. You'll probably, depending on where you are in that process, how many days since you started the chemo, you're going to take out a lot more hair by doing this. And at this point, you really want to encourage that hair to come out, because that tenderness, even a hair that's like this long, if you've got it sitting under a hat there in that really tender hair follicle, that's going to be uncomfortable. So just know that if your scalp is feeling uncomfortable, it's going to feel so much better after you do this process. So you rinse it out, rinse out that shampoo or conditioner, get your blow dryer and blow it dry, and then we're going to clip it down. So really important. Now, whether you are going to do this yourself, or if you give these instructions to your hairdresser, he or she will, I'm sure, be happy to do it that way. But here's your regular clipper, and this is the metal blade that I do not want you to put all the way down to your scalp. And there's a couple other reasons to do that also that I'll tell you about. These attachments says number 2 on it, and you just put it in here and you snap this on. See how easy that is? Okay, you just snap this down, and then you buzz your hair. If all you have is a dog clipper, that's fine. As long as you've got the attachments, and most of the dog clippers, I mean, they're really the same, So then you want to clip it down, and with that number 2 attachment, it'll leave it about 1/4 to 1/2 inch long. And the other reason that I really like that is then your head is soft to the touch. And it's just, you just don't want a whiskery head. The other thing is, if you have all these whiskers up here, and you're going to put on a really soft, like a bamboo turban or some type of fabric that's really soft, your head's going to be like sandpaper, and it'll kind of get stuck on there. But with the number 2 attachment, no problem. You will not have any of those ingrown hairs, and you won't have, it's just going to be soft. Then one more thing is, I was going to get it here to demo it, because I've got them all over the house, because I've got a dog, but take one of those masking tape lint rollers and roll your head. And even after you've just combed out a ton of hair, you will be amazed at how much more will come out in that lint roller. And you really want to encourage those hairs to come out and release from the hair follicle. So for 2 or 3 times a day for the next, until it's pretty much gone, just run that lint roller across your head and really encourage that to get out. And I promise you, your hats and scarves or wig it's gonna feel so much better when you get that excess hair off of there and you get those little ones out, out of there. So anyway, so there's that part on how to really encourage the rest of that hair to come out. The next thing is you want to continue to shampoo your head every day. Every day when you get in the shower, just do a little squirt of just your regular shampoo that you're using. And the reason for that is that your oil glands are going to continue to put out the same amount of oil whether you have hair or not. And just think about that. Think of like how oily or dirty your hair gets in one day. And that's your hair catches that oil, so it won't be there anymore. So you definitely want to continue to wash your head. I like to do that too because I like to do something normal. But I also my mom had chemotherapy, and she was elderly, and she thought, well, I don't have hair, why should I shampoo my hair? And she ended up getting a little cradle cap on there. Don't want to scare you again, it's just common sense. Just shampoo your head, and you won't need any kind of lotion, or at least in all the time that I was doing this for clients, I never knew anyone whose scalp got so dry that they needed lotion on their hair. So, and definitely no conditioner. Like, shampoo is for your scalp and your hair, conditioner is only for the hair. So no, you don't want to put conditioner on. And if for some reason your scalp is dry and you want to put a little hand lotion on there, I would recommend that you then use some kind of a wig or hat liner, cotton or bamboo, not those nylon things that'll really irritate your scalp. But and that's only so that you would keep your wig and hats or scarves cleaner, because if you put lotion on and then you put your hat over it, you're going to have to wash it more often. But I don't think that would be a problem. I've never seen anyone with big dry patches on their scalp. So those are my best tips on whether or not to shave your head. And I know it's a tough thing that you're facing right now, and I hope that I've given you some ideas on how to make that a little bit smoother. So this is Nicki Serquinia from Hats, Scarves, and More.